At 6 a.m., forced out by flames, a Miami Beach apartment catches fire, sending dozens of residents out of their homes for the night. We're live. Set for sentencing, what the man who held 3 women captive in his home for nearly a decade is facing this morning. Plus, lifetime ban, new developments in the A-Rod drug scandal, why he may be one step closer to being knocked out of the game of baseball for good.
Good morning, South Florida, 6 o'clock on Thursday, August the 1st. Thanks for waking up with CBS 4. I'm Brian Andrews. Josh Benson is off today. Dozens of families homeless this morning, forced out of their apartments by flames. The fire started last night under suspicious circumstances inside a unit at the Mantel Plaza Apartments on Miami Beach. CBS 4's Natalia Zaya is live there this morning with new details on the investigation. Natalia? The city of Hialeah remains in mourning today as 4 more of the victims from last Friday's shooting massacre will have their funerals. Italo and Samara Pisciotti, Merly Niebles, and Priscilla Perez will be laid to rest. Viewings were held for them last night, just hours after another funeral mass for victim Carlos Gavilanes. The funeral for Patricia Simono is expected to be held later in the week. Governor Rick Scott was in Hialeah on Wednesday to express his condolences to the victims' families, as well as his gratitude to the first responders. Coming up at 6:30, hear the 911 call made by the gunman to police hours before he went on that shooting rampage. National news now, life in prison plus 1,000 years. What the man in Cleveland accused of holding 3 women captive for about a decade faces at his sentencing hearing today. Ariel Castro, he won't be getting the death penalty because of a deal he cut with prosecutors. Castro has pled guilty to 937 counts, including kidnapping, rape, assault, and aggravated murder for the unborn children. Prosecutors say one of Castro's victims documented the 10 years of horror in her diary. 13 minutes after 6 o'clock, NSA concerns. New reports reveal an agency program that collects nearly everything people do online, and they don't need a warrant to get it. The British newspaper The Guardian has printed the previously top-secret documents on this NSA program. Jeff Baradelli is here with us. He's checking the weather, and you're in for Lisette, who's vacationing in the Bahamas. We have lots of viewers. Good morning, Nassau. Good morning, Bimini. Good morning, Freeport. We have a traffic alert just coming in, and the lady to bring it to us is right here, Vanessa Borges. Where is it? How bad is it? Beep, creep, bumper to bumper.
It's pretty bad out there.
Now to a big development in a CBS 4 News investigation into the forgotten floor. A shakeup at the top level involving the beleaguered Miami-Dade jail and medical services provided to inmates there. CBS 4's chief investigator, Michelle Gillen, has been working to expose controversial conditions at the jail for 7 years now, and she has this update. Let's go to New York now, and Charlie Rose. This guy is a role model. Oh my gosh, this is so cool for me because I grew up watching your interviews. I think you are just the bomb.com when it comes to the way that you interview people and just a guy with total class. What a pleasure to send it up to New York for a preview.
Hey, good morning, Brian. Welcome to you.
The time now is 6:24. George Zimmerman back in the spotlight, as Charlie mentioned. We'll tell you why he was stopped by cops and also what was in the glove compartment of his Florida license plate truck. California now, where a suspected car thief led police on a wild, high-speed chase. There he goes. From the helicopter, you can see the driver trying to get away at speeds of more than 100 miles an hour. Officers eventually banged into that car, flipping it sideways. There you see it, bringing the chase to an end. The suspect was taken out and arrested. Next at noon, it's sentencing day for Ariel Castro, and for the first time, we are seeing inside the Cleveland home where 3 women were held captive for a decade. We are learning new details about what may have started a fire on Miami Beach that forced dozens of people to leave their homes last night.
He faces life in prison plus 1,000 years.
Now, during the hearing this morning, we got to see for the very first time the deplorable conditions these women were forced to live in. One of Castro's victims documented the 10 years of horror in her diary. City officials are holding a news conference this afternoon, and that is where we find CBS 4's Peter Dench standing by for information. Peter. New this noon, a man accused of killing a grandmother and her grandson in Miami Gardens will not be getting out of jail anytime soon. Today, a Miami-Dade County judge denied bond for Reginald Jackson. Prosecutors accused Jackson of murdering Tyrone Walker Jr. and Annette Anderson earlier this month. He faces 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of kidnapping and 2 counts of armed robbery. Officers are also looking for this man. He's unidentified. They say that apparently this guy used a credit card belonging to one of the 2 victims. We are learning new details about a fire at a condo in Miami Beach that forced dozens of people to spend the night somewhere else. Today, a Russian lawyer for Edward Snowden reports the National Security Agency leaker has received asylum in Russia for 1 year and has left the transit zone of Moscow's international airport. The attorney says Snowden's location will be kept secret for his own security. The U.S. has demanded Russia send Snowden back to face prosecution for espionage. However, Russian President Vladimir Putin has denied that request. The Reverend Dr. Jesse Jackson says he stands by his comments and will not apologize to Florida's Governor Rick Scott, all stemming from a demonstration Tuesday at the state capitol in Tallahassee. Jackson calling Florida the Selma of our time and comparing Governor Scott to former Alabama Governor George Wallace. Jackson joined protesters calling on the governor to convene a special session of the legislature over Florida's Stand Your Ground law in the wake of Trayvon Martin's death and the acquittal of George Zimmerman.
Well, he's just name calling. If he looked at us, if he were to come to work and talk with us rather than hiding, maybe we could have a civil conversation. Our interest is that change the Stand Your Ground laws, stop racial profiling, and end these huge gaps between black and white in that state.
Now, the other side of the story, Governor Scott says Jackson owes every Floridian an apology for what he says are reckless and divisive comments. Welcome back. New at noon, the University of Miami is about to kick off its new football season, but the usual excitement is a bit tempered this year. On the Money Watch now, Florida's 3-day tax holiday returns tomorrow. But we're not just talking about pens and paper for school here. Things like personal computers, e-readers, tablets, software, and accessories costing less than $750 will be exempt from state sales tax. This does not, however, include items like cell phones, gaming systems, or digital cameras. So, Rihanna, no new iPhone, okay?
Oh, bummer.
Like last year, school supplies selling for $15 or less and certain items of clothing and accessories selling for $75 or less will be tax exempt. And job seekers, are you looking for one? There's a job fair today in Dania Beach. The fair is sponsored by GE and has more than 20 companies participating. It's being held at the Fort Lauderdale Sheraton Airport Hotel from 1 o'clock until 4 in the afternoon.